Ladies, gentlemen, and emblems of all ages, welcome back to another video. We are going to update on Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. So it's been about a week since my last video with all of the character reveals and stuff, and I let the dust settle a little bit because I'm trying to strike a little balance between spamming you guys with a bunch of videos every time they update us. Like, I mean, I could do that if you really want me to, but I feel like taking a step back, sort of analyzing things and taking a more in-depth look at them and waiting for something substantial is probably a better idea. I don't know. I'll think about it. You guys let me know in the comments what you prefer. For now, let's talk about the most recent Twitter video that they revealed to us, and we can talk a little bit more about the intricacies of it as we go along. So the post that they put along with it is telling us that this is a turn-based game, I guess for people who haven't played the game. For people like us, and if you guys are watching my channel, I assume you already know about this. So we're just going to jump into the footage. Let me make sure we have the highest quality we possibly can, 720, and we will go. So a couple of things here initially early on. You can see, and this is really annoying because we don't have it stopping frame by frame, but you can see that Kai is in his commoner class here. He's not in his Orneus Rider class, and we know that from the direct translation of what this Japanese means. So he starts off in a base class, which is something that we had thought about originally. I think I had mentioned this in one of my videos that we've seen sort of Theodora start out in a noble class. We will also see sort of a civilian class as well. This guy here, the archer dude, he starts out in it as well. So I believe there are going to be base classes that all the units start out in, and then they promote from there. He's also using a wooden lance. So I don't know if we'd previously known that there were wooden weapons, but these seem to be before the bronze ones that we've seen so far. So there you go. Also, if we take a look at the setting that this battle is taking place in, it doesn't seem like it's within the Colosseum. We can see sort of the map design here. It seems to be just kind of an elongated map design. There's a few enemies on the map and like a boss and a clump up here at the top. For most of the Colosseum-based battles, you would usually see the edges of the map be the edges of that Colosseum or the arena, and here that's not really the case. This looks more akin to the road that Kai is running in the opening of the game, where he's sort of running around and exploring. So maybe this is a battle that takes place at the early stages of the game. He is level 8, so I'm not really sure what this is, but there is also a high chance that this is some kind of skirmish. On the map here, he's got 5 units with him. This guy over here, the dude with like the little tuft of hair that's a different color, has been seen with almost every single lord. I'm assuming he's going to be like maybe the Jagan of the game or an early game recruit that everyone gets. And then we see the glasses girl, his childhood friend, this guy here, and Oltand, who he mentions by name in one of the trailers. She is this teal, light teal color, which we don't really know what that means quite yet. It's sort of different to the base color of the allied units, as you can very clearly see here, along with the border around her portrait. She does still seem to be a mage, so that's been consistent so far. So that's all we know. I'm assuming this might be a different faction. My prediction for this is that these maps are potentially recruitment maps or trial maps where these units will be trial units until you officially recruit them. That's my prediction. I don't know that for sure. Immediately here, we can see that Kai has 5 movement, which is really important because later on, as you'll see, all of the other units only have 4 movement. The menu that he has here, if we were to translate these, you will see that the blaze arts and the combat arts here are darkened out, and he will have inventory, I think this is, and this is the storage, so he can access the storage directly, as well as the weight. I believe that's where each one is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll try and put like a translated version on the screen too if I can. Right here we can see the glasses girl, who's a mage, and you can right away see that red icons are immediately visible. She's 1-2 range, she's using a tome. And she can only move 4 spaces here, which is rather interesting. Her name seems to be Tiara August, which is what she mentions or calls out when you immediately select her. And right here, as we pause, you can see that she also has the green tiles here, which are usually buffs or healing, which lets us know that she's got access to that. And here you can see none of her options are grayed out. In fact, her combat arts one is active, so that indicates that she's got a buff that she can use to buff Kai. Interestingly enough, she also has one of the access to the storage, which either means that she's a main character enough for her to access the storage herself, or she can access it through being next to Kai. This is Kai's friend, the archer guy, also has 4 movement, and he only has 2 range with bows, so they are not 1-2 range, that is confirmed. He's also in like a commoner or a civilian class as well, and he's using a wooden bow. When we look at his menu, he only has the 4 options, and none of them are the storage ones. So not every single unit on the map is able to use the storage. You either have to be next to the main lord, as in Kai, or have to have access to it yourself if Tiara is some kind of main character that gets that access. His name is also Peter, which we now see as well here. That is confirmed. Enemy phase is kind of nice. Oh, also we've got some new music. I actually really like the new music, but let me know what you guys think. Here we immediately see an enemy attacking Ultand. Now, the enemy faction here that is listed is called Goliath's Minions, and I'm going to stop for a second and talk about this, because a lot of people have made a very big deal about the enemy factions. I actually think this is a massive nothing burger, like a massive misdirection, because we have seen so many different enemy faction names that I honestly just believe that, you know how like you sign up for a team sport and they ask you to name your team? I think that's just literally what it is. It's like whatever your team name is in the arena, that's what these factions are. So I don't think the type of faction is genuinely going to be a big deal. Now, we kind of missed this here because it's really fine, the fine movements, but when Ultand gets hit, you can see the NPC behind her kind of flinch here, right when the enemy hits her. And then you've also got the NPCs here cheering them on, which is interesting because that means it just makes the world feel a little bit more alive and that people are actually watching these battles. She's also holding onto a fire tome, which she fires back. And I don't know that we've ever seen these little symbols that she's firing off. If anyone knows what these are, let me know. Triangle, that's got to be Illuminati, right? I mean, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But yeah, she fires back with a fire tome, mage class. She's got a pretty good design. All right, here once again, we see Kai moving. He's still got that 5 movement. And here we see an even bigger menu. Everything is lighting up, nothing is grayed out, and he is going to attack this enemy. And oops, I wanted to take a look at the screen here so you can clearly see that he's doing doubles. He's got 7% crit, and this enemy is a fighter. You can confirm sort of the class here. He's an enemy fighter, and fighters can use swords, so I wonder if we are no longer weapon locked and going back to sort of the Three Houses era. Here we can also see both of Kai's crests, this crest of Gautier that we've been sort of theorizing about, as well as this crest of Aubin. I also really like the animations. It's kind of got the 3D combat where, you know, he misses, he rolls to the right, the camera sort of rotates with him, and then he attacks back immediately. The animations are pretty smooth. I like it so far. And we can see here at the end, oh, this is going to give me some trouble. But his class, being that commoner class, has proficiency in lances and in infantry movement. This just means that your class is going to boost these at the end of combat if you're using them. I don't think it means anything special, but that's that. So that's the breakdown for this little video that they've posted. I think I managed to get everything in here. Let me know if you found anything else, and we will move on to the little post underneath it just to read it for completion's sake. I'm using the auto translate from Twitter, which isn't amazing, but they're just telling us that you can see the movable range in blue and the attackable range in red, and it varies per unit, and so does the attack range, which is like mind-blowing, I know, right? Now, usually I wouldn't provide an update on something this minor because it's just sort of a picture with a description, but it says the central city of Dagda Empire, surrounded by a vast lake and boasting population well over 1 million people. And we're going to do Satsuma's translations, who's the GOAT, by the way, did these for the previous games too. Various facilities line the streets, such as an arena where fierce battles are held, a market where many come and go, a temple for the gods that rule this land, high-class entertainment venues, and more. So the one thing that caught my eye with this is the temple for the gods that rule this land, and they use the word gods as plural, which means that they still worship multiple gods. Now, do we know who these are? Not quite, but the ruler of Dagsion might be one of those. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was pertinent. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to talk about with Lita, because we didn't really dive into her reveal, and I thought that it was actually quite nice. We got the continuation of the Together We Ride song that sounds phenomenal in its more sort of Spanish guitar-influenced format, which I thought was amazing. She's a first-class vihuela player. A vihuela is like this little violin thing. It's a Spanish violin or guitar, and she plays enchanting melodies. Triggered by a certain incident that occurred 5 years ago, she embarks on a life consumed by revenge and resentment. We can only imagine what this event was that is causing her revenge and resentment, but she likes memories of her parents, so You know, in keeping with Fire Emblem themes, I wonder if she has lost her father or her mother or both to this event, and it's causing her to want revenge and be resentful. These two things are probably very connected. She likes performing the songs of her homeland, jewels, and applause. I mean, who doesn't like that? Everyone loves the songs of their homeland, am I right? But one thing that I think is very interesting is, where is Lita's homeland? And I have a theory about this, so if you've been listening this long, then you are going to be rewarded by one of my wild, outlandish theories. If you're not well aware of them, you can check one of my recent videos. I went on some crazy theory kicks there. But I have a theory that Lita might not actually be from Dagda. I think Lita very well could be from Elmira. Now, hear me out. This is conjecture. It's not confirmed, but if we go back to the very, very first trailer, there is a girl who looks a lot like Lita, who there's a fire going on and she's yelling out and extending her arm. I think that's Lita during whatever tragedy happened 5 years ago. If you look at her earrings, look at that little symbol on her earrings, we can very clearly see this same symbol on Claude's uniform. Now, I don't know if they're related. I'm not quite sure about the lore, but seeing these two symbols in two people generally means there's some kind of relation. I don't recall seeing this symbol anywhere else in the Three Houses world. So very well could be from Elmira, very well could be related to Claude. She is also our lord who uses a bow. I mean, there's a few parallels here, although her attitude is much different to his. Now let's go through her video, which I'm really excited about. So her class is the Hunter class, and the Hunter class here, it says, specializes in swords and bows, and she's also an infantry unit, so that's what we can see. She's got a very, very nice and vibrant design, and behind her we can kind of see the Colosseum arena, all of the fans in the stands, as well as the sort of tropical environment that's seen during the battle that she's in. So we know that the battle that's taking place within this video is in the arena. I've already gone over all of these recruitable units, so I won't take too much time on it. We'll just kind of skim through this video real quick. You can see that she can also access the storage here as part of her menu. And she's got some pretty kick-ass animations, and she's shooting upside down, so I wonder if this is some kind of analogy to Claude. There are a couple of things in Lita's menus that I would love to point out. She is using an iron bow as her main weapon, but there's a purple weapon called the Rakshasa Woman's Fan, and that is probably the really odd-looking sword that she was holding in one of Kai's trailers. I'll put it on the screen for you right now, as well as a poison sword, which is quite interesting. Poison weapons are not weapons that we normally see on units that we have. We also see that the faction that she is fighting are the Silver Knights. Again, this is probably just a generic faction. I don't think there's too much to read into regarding this. And you can see in one of these screenshots that she actually has the Crest of Dominic, which is interesting because we were so convinced that she would have the Crest of Timotheos, given that she's able to summon those demonic beasts and control them, which is what Happy has and allows her to do that. And almost last, I wanted to touch a bit on Theodora's trailer here. So she's in the Noble class, and the Noble class actually does not specialize in anything. I think it's also kind of probably a base class. The one notable thing with Theodora is that she has a different menu option to the other units, and she has one that is called... The direct translation from Japanese is strategy, but I assume these are the battalions that we've seen before. She also has her unique spear, the Mamadou spear, or whatever it's called. And she uses this, like, it also translates weird to, like, mess shot or chaos shot. If I'm not using anything that's like an accurate translator, so I can't say for sure. But it is an AoE that is strong against flyers. We can clearly see that over here. And, I skipped ahead across from this, but the type of unit that is fighting, or the faction here, this is called the Gaia Brigade. And I think that's pretty much it when it comes to Theodora. She kind of just uses that battalion and then the video kind of ends. So there's not really very much going on here. But yeah, those are just some of the new details that I wanted to talk about for Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. So let me know what you all think, and if there's anything that I missed, and whether or not you want me to cover these things more frequently. So having said all that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you made it this far. Do not forget. And I will see you all in another video very soon. Peace.